Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, PattSun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/surviving infidelity, where OP finally had enough of his cheating wife's shenanigans. Let's begin. My wife refuses to put our son in public school. How do I move forward? Posted by Reddit user Suzaman.
I don't know what to do with this issue because it's a combination of parenting and relationship. My son is 6 years old but is very smart and we are currently homeschooled. But currently they haven't had a session in weeks. When they do, it's just a few hours if that, 3 times a week if that. I'm very frustrated because even though I understand the advantages of homeschooling, more focus on subjects that matter without the fluff, not subjecting him to the dangers of public school. I still rather have him endure that than him on his phone constantly throughout the day and not obtaining any social skills or any kind routine. The wife and I have argued and fought about this many times, and I told her it's the last year of this homeschooling. She has clinical OCD and babies him a lot. It's her only child, so I understand to an extent. I have 3 others from a previous marriage and 2 live with us, so I don't know if that has something to do with it or not. I'm not sure if counseling, compromise or ultimatums are in order here, as she absolutely refuses to put him in school, and I have threatened divorce because I find it's very harmful for him. Any advice would help. TLDR, wife doesn't want to put son in public school but lacks the discipline to consistently homeschool him. Edit. I want to thank everyone who has given me great advice. I really appreciate it. This is a difficult situation to say the least. To those who had lingering questions, I work from home, so that's how I know. Yes, she gets therapy and medication for her OCD. Yes, I know I'm at fault for not just enrolling him in school behind her back. But this is something I have argued for the past 2 years. I take his education seriously, but you don't just do what you feel is right without consulting your partner. So I decided to write down my feelings and we'll give her a choice. I love her and my son. I feel we can make a decision that is beneficial to all, but if she wants to be stubborn, I'm willing to walk away, which is a very hard decision with lots of ramifications. I will update afterwards. Thank you all again. And now for OP's update. So after many heated arguments, we agreed that she could finish out this year. If she stays consistent and there is an improvement, I agree he will stay homeschooled, but if I don't, he will go to public school. I am still afraid she may renege on the deal, and she is afraid I may not give her a fair shot and just disagree no matter what when the time comes. But that's where the trust in your partner is really tested. Now, this took a lot of conviction and tears and emotions. This was not easy to get to because of how strongly we felt about her homeschooling and the public school system. So I suppose any argument about the welfare of our children is better than petty ones. In the end, I was close to really walking away, but I listened to her feelings and she understood mine. I hope this helps someone in a similar situation. Thanks for all the positive feedback. Edit. So let me explain. I have a calendar of his lessons and times she will be teaching him. Those will be signed off and checked. I will also have him tested at the end. She has until the end of December this year. If she fails, then he will be enrolled come January 2024. Also, the nasty comments that we are failing him, I'm a terrible parent, spineless, not needed. I wasn't willing to divorce unless I have my son succeed. I'm sure you all meant it as motivation, I'm guessing. I'm here to fight for my son, but also in a marriage, and you don't just throw away your marriage unless there is no other choice. So if she reneges on the deal, she knows the consequences.
Look, OP, I'm glad that you're thinking about your son's future. I really am. But to be honest, I am against homeschooling. Sure, it may give him a safer environment to learn, but it doesn't really teach him certain life skills to be a fully functioning adult. Social skills and street smarts, for example. Parents like your wife fuck their kids up due to their own issues and or stubbornness. She is going to helicopter mom him until he is a low-contact adult with crippling therapy bills or a smug man-child who will be everyone's nightmare. Think about it, OP. And now for today's second story. My wife cheated on me and strung me along for weeks. I'm devastated. Posted by Reddit user F4Yeti.
I've been lurking this subreddit for a few weeks and I've been trying to get the courage to post my own experience. I'll apologize right away. I don't make posts or comments on Reddit often, so please forgive me. I'm in shock. I thought I had an amazing marriage and wife and everything came crashing down and my pictured future is gone. TLDR, my wife was sending intimate pictures to another married man. I left to give her space and she strung me along for 3 weeks. She ghosted me and tried to deflect everything onto me. 3 weeks ago, I caught my wife messaging another man in Snapchat. During the week I had caught her cheating. We were getting pre-approved for a house and were going through an IVF process to get her pregnant. I walked into the bedroom and saw her phone out and she was messaging a man. All I could see was a message he sent saying, "Wow, that is so hot." I immediately started asking questions and her demeanor went very cold and she told me she had been talking to the guy about our sex life. I asked a few questions. The guy was also married and she was someone she had talked to online for years. He once flew out 10 years ago and visited her while in college and they kissed. I told her she was on the line or crossing the line with what she was doing. After I got a couple questions out, she immediately hits me with some problems she had with the marriage and that she had been thinking of asking for a separation. I was shocked.
By the end of this, you are going to be crying like a little bitch.
Her reasoning made no sense. She told me I smothered her because I'd want to know when she'd be home every day. For context, she has different work hours each day and I cook dinner, so I just wanted to have things prepared for her. She then tells me she hates that I game with my brother and friend a couple of hours every other night. For context here, I'd always ask her beforehand if she was cool with it and she'd respond yeah, because I want to get the dishes done or I want to go read my book. Even though she told me yes, for 5 years of our relationship, she told me I should have known she didn't want me to. She also said she felt more like roommates than lovers, which I don't understand. Literally that week, I had left her small cards in her lunchbox with a picture of the Disney castle on the front. Inside it said, "I love you so much, you mean the world to me." We were going through a lot of stress with the house and IVF, but I tried to do things to show her I loved her. Anyways, we made up and the next day and she was love bombing me, saying things like, "I love you, we'll get through this and I'm glad you saw those texts." She sent me plenty of hearts during the day and picked up McDonald's for me. We had sex later that night, but I could tell she was totally not into it. She essentially just laid there and I asked her what was up. Anyways, the night went on and I walked into the bedroom a few more times and I could tell she was texting someone. I confronted her and she told me she was still talking with the guy. I told her that she needed to stop any communication with the guy. She said okay and we went about the night. Later that night, after talking with a couple of friends and reading this forum, I had decided to try to check her phone to see what they had actually been discussing. While she was asleep, I tried to check her phone and her PIN or pattern for her iPhone had been changed. And it had been the same it always had been for the 5 years of our relationship. It was 2 a.m. and I woke her up, asked her to unlock the phone and I looked for Snapchat and it was deleted. I immediately asked her what was the extent of their conversations and she had said she had sent him pictures of her in her bra. I was in shock then, I began sobbing. I asked her how could she do this while we're trying to build a life together with a house and child. We both sobbed and she decided it would be best to go to her mom's. Even though she did something that many would deem unforgivable, I couldn't help see the woman I've loved cry. I gave her a hug and for whatever reason, I apologized to her.
Wow, like a bitch.
And that's what Frieza said.
She said don't apologize. We both said I love you and she left. I packed up some clothes, my work computer and went to my parents. Over the coming days we talked. I still loved her and wanted to get back together. At the time she was still sending me hearts, calling me hun, saying I love you and telling me good morning and good night. Things got weird because I wanted to see her and she said we should wait. She said she needed space to work on her communication and she also wanted to miss me because she felt like we were roommates. I obliged and gave her space. The next weekend came up and our landlord was going to do a project on our apartment. So the apartment had to be vacated for the day and we were super worried about our cats. The plan was we'd both take the cats and go to her mom's for the day. I was super excited because I'd get to see her after everything happened. But our landlord canceled the day before, so I asked her if she'd still like to do something. She ignored my text and the next day in the afternoon, I received a text from her saying she was sorry she didn't get back to me, that she decided to take a train to Boston and walk around. I was upset. She ignored me. We used to love to take the train into Boston. I told I would have loved to go with her and she responds, yeah, I know.
Sensobean!
From here, things seemed to go downhill. She had kept asking for space, so I decided to provide it because I thought it would help. After I told her I was going to give her space and refrain from texting, she never once texted or called. After a week, I called her and she seemed immediately annoyed and inconvenienced that I had reached out wanting to get together. Another week goes by and no texts or calls initiated by her. Again, I called her on the next Saturday to get together and she didn't want to. What did I do wrong as to why she didn't want to spend time with me? I was cheated on, yet she wouldn't see me and it felt like I had done something wrong. After 2 weeks of space, I noticed that she had started moving subscriptions and renewals off the credit card since the typical stuff was no longer on it. I then decided to check our apartment doorbell camera and I could see she had no longer been wearing her wedding ring. I called her and asked her what was going on and some arguing pursued. How I'm not a good husband. She was bringing up small menial relationship issues that could have been resolved with a simple conversation which she never brought up.
Why are you still here?
Eventually, I brought up how we had just gone on our honeymoon and had a great time, which she tells me she was annoyed during it. I asked her why she was annoyed and she said I wanted to go to the hot tubs together each day, while she just wanted to stay in the room and read. I was livid. It's too much to ask to spend time with me on our honeymoon for 30 to 45 minutes. It almost seemed like she was just grasping at straws trying to come up with whatever she could to justify a case why she cheated. I had enough and I asked for a divorce. This may be awful, but I regret asking for a divorce. All my family and friends tell me I did the right thing and I couldn't trust her, but I loved her so much.
Oh my god!
I saw a future ahead with this woman and everything seemed great, and all of a sudden, everything was ripped away from me. She seemed like a completely different woman. I'm devastated. I dream of her every night and then I wake up and cry because I realized I'm back at my parents' house. I think about the cheating and I'm so angry and I just want to say hurtful things to her. I see pictures of her and I miss her so goddamn much. It's so not fair. I've started seeing a therapist who specializes with infidelity and it helps. But how am I going to trust in a relationship ever again? I saw no signs. We never really had fights and I was so happy. It's like a switch flipped and now everything is gone.
OP, she is disrespecting you. Do you know why? Because you have no self-respect. I get that you are an emotional wreck right now, but you're being a spineless idiot here. She is cheating on you, and you are the one taking responsibility for it. Look, man, when she wanted that break, when she asked for that space, that is just code for test driving another relationship, seeing if Chad will commit to her. Well, at least you did something correctly. You asked for a divorce. Now, OP, talk to divorce lawyers, see if you can get your money back for the IVF, immediately cancel any shared credit cards, divide the accounts she has access to, remove her from all insurances, serve her the papers as fast as you can, go to the gym, and for fuck's sake, man, go to individual counseling. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.